There's a woman who remembers every single day of her life since she was 14. Not the important ones. Every one. Ask her what happened on a random Tuesday 22 years ago, and she can tell you what she ate, what she wore, what was on the news. Most people think that sounds like a superpower. She doesn't. She calls it a burden she never asked for. Right now, your brain is doing something it never gets credit for. It's forgetting. Constantly. On purpose. You've already forgotten most of today. Most of this week. Almost all of last year. And that's not a flaw in the system. That is the system. So what if it just stopped? What if every conversation, every embarrassing moment, every forgettable Tuesday afternoon stayed exactly as vivid as the day it happened? Forever. No fading. No mercy.
No moment where you say, wow, I haven't thought about that in years. Just everything. Always there, always loud. This isn't hypothetical. It has a name. Hyperthemesia. Highly superior autobiographical memory. Fewer than 100 confirmed cases exist in the entire world. People with it can recall the exact date of almost any personal event and describe it in overwhelming, cinematic detail.
At first, that sounds incredible.
Never lose a memory again. Never forget a name, a face, a promise you made. Relive your best day whenever you want, exactly as it felt the first time. Who wouldn't want that? Here's the catch. The brain doesn't let you choose which memories play. You don't get to keep the highlight reel and delete the rest. It's all or nothing. The good, the boring, and the humiliating, all filed with the same permanence. Imagine every rejection you've ever felt still hitting with full force decades later. Every argument replayable in real time. Every stupid thing you said in 9th grade, not softened by time, not blurred by distance, just there.
Waiting. This is where forgetting reveals what it actually is. Not a malfunction, a mechanism. Your brain is built to strip the emotional charge off old memories over time. That's why a breakup that felt like the end of the world at 19 barely stings by 30. Forgetting isn't losing your life. It's how your brain lets you keep living it. Neuroscientists call this memory decay, but that word makes it sound like rot. It's closer to editing. Every time you recall something, your brain quietly rewrites it, softening edges, blending details, adjusting emotional intensity. You're not remembering the original event anymore. You're remembering the last time you remembered it. People who study hyperthemesia describe something surprising. Almost none of them call it a gift. Many describe it as exhausting, like carrying a version of themselves from every single day, all speaking at once, none of them ever going quiet. Trauma researchers see a similar pattern in something else entirely. In PTSD, the problem often isn't remembering too little. It's remembering too vividly, too often, without control. The brain fails to file the memory away as past. It keeps replaying it as if it's still happening. Total memory, it turns out, can look a lot like being trapped. This is the uncomfortable truth. A healthy mind isn't the one that remembers the most. It's the one that forgets on schedule. The blur around your 10th birthday. The fog over that argument you had in 2016. That's not damage. That's your brain protecting you from yourself. There's a deeper question hiding in all this. If every version of you, every day, every mistake stayed permanently vivid and equally present, would you even feel like one continuous person? Or
would you feel like 1,000 versions of yourself, all shouting for attention at once? So maybe forgetting isn't the tragedy we assume it is. Maybe it's the quiet editor working in the background of your life, cutting the footage down to something you can actually carry. Not erasing you, making you livable.
And maybe that's why nostalgia feels so good. It's not the memory itself you're craving, it's the softened, edited version your brain gave you permission to keep. The real day probably wasn't that perfect, but your brain decided you didn't need to remember that part. So the next time you forget something, a name, a date, a moment you swear you should remember, don't panic. That's not your mind failing you. That's your mind doing exactly what it's supposed to do, letting go so you can keep going.